Nephrology in step 1 can be a very challenging topic, so if you're struggling with anything renal, stick around for this video. You're going to want to watch this explanation. So we have a 62-year-old man with long-standing hypertension who was started on lisinopril, which is also an ACE inhibitor. 2 days later, his serum creatinine rises from 1 to 2.5. Blood pressure is now 160/95. Physical exam reveals an abdominal bruit. Which of the following best explains this patient's rise in creatinine? So let's break down what's happening in this vignette. The patient was started on lisinopril. 2 days later, his creatinine doubles, or even more than doubles. His blood pressure is really high, 160/95, and there's an abdominal bruit. So an abdominal bruit in a 62-year-old man with hypertension, we're thinking renal artery stenosis. That's the first thing we want to know. Which of the following best explains this patient's rise in creatinine? Now, why has the creatinine doubled? So for the creatinine to double, we want to be thinking there's decreased filtration going on at the glomerulus. So let's start with A, constriction of the afferent arteriole. This is correct in the sense that it does decrease filtration at the glomerulus. However, an ACE inhibitor like lisinopril has no effect on the afferent arteriole. For that reason, this is incorrect. An NSAID, however, would decrease prostaglandin production and constrict the afferent arteriole. So had this question said he was given an NSAID, A would be correct, but a lisinopril or an ACE inhibitor has no effect on the afferent arteriole, therefore A is incorrect. As for B, dilation of the afferent arteriole, this is also incorrect. Like I just said for A, lisinopril or ACE inhibitors in general have no effect on the afferent arteriole, so it's not causing any constriction or dilation there, therefore B is also incorrect, and you can eliminate this immediately. C, loss of efferent arteriolar constriction, this is the correct answer. So renal artery stenosis means there's a blockage before blood gets perfused to the kidney. So if there's less blood going to the kidney, this activates the RAS system. So now you have increased levels of renin, angiotensin 1, angiotensin 2, and aldosterone. Angiotensin 2 acts as a constrictor at the efferent arteriole. So if you're giving lisinopril, blocking angiotensin 2 from being produced, there's no more constriction at the efferent arteriole. Now you have dilation. So there's more blood flow passing by. There's decreased filtration at the glomerulus. Therefore, there's less creatinine being filtered. Therefore, you see the doubling of the creatinine in the patient's serum. For that reason, the answer is C. And now moving on to D, tubular necrosis from drug toxicity. ACE inhibitors do not cause acute tubular necrosis. You would also see an abnormal urinalysis with brown, muddy casts in the urine. You'd also see acute tubular necrosis happening from things like hypotension, where you have a prerenal AKI. For that reason, D is also not the correct answer. The best answer here is C, as I explained before. And thank you for watching our video. If you liked this video, please follow our page, follow our TikTok and YouTube. Thanks so much.